Hello there, very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlene Benedict for the Newsfirst team. Let's start off with a look at your top stories for tonight. Rivalry continues in the Women's World Cup. India and Pakistan captains refuse to shake hands at toss. President Dissanayake hands over 1,000 housing units on World Habitat Day. Urumaya scam exposed. Director General of the Land Reform Commission removed. Gazette to restore IGP's authority over police transfers and promotions to be published next week. Heavy rain forecast for many areas. Severe lightning, 75 millimeters of rain expected. Fishermen cautioned over rough seas. Israeli Prime Minister says Israel won't implement rest of Trump's Gaza deal unless every hostage returned first. The much-anticipated India-Pakistan clash of the 2025 Women's World Cup is underway at Colombo's R. Premadasa Stadium, captivating cricket fans worldwide. Batting first, India posted a competitive 247 before being bowled out at the end of the 50th over, setting the stage for a high-stakes encounter. From the moment the toss was won, the fierce rivalry was on full display, keeping spectators on the edge of their seats throughout the match. Chasing a target of 248 for a win, Pakistan were 53 for the loss of 3 wickets a short while ago.
This is the 6th match of the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup 2025. Indian captain Harmanpreet Kaur and Pakistani captain Fatima Sana refused to shake hands at the toss.
Coin toss, what are you going to do and why?
We're going to bowl first because the weather looks good and the pitch is a little bit moisture.
Pakistan captain Fatima Sana won the toss and elected to bowl first. Pratika Rawal opened the Indian innings with Smriti Mandhana. Mandhana fell for 23, limiting the first wicket partnership between the two to 48 runs. Pratika Rawal scored 31.
Finds the gap this time, Pratika Rawal.
Captain Harmanpreet Kaur fell for 19 runs. Ramin Shamim managed to dismiss Harleen Deol, who was close to her 5th ODI half-century, for 46 runs. Jemima Rodriguez scored 32 runs. A standout feature of this tournament is that all matches at the R. Premadasa Stadium are free for local cricket fans to attend. All matches of the 2025 ICC Women's Cricket World Cup are being broadcast live on TV1, the official local broadcasting rights holder, and streamed online on www.sirasatv.lk.
President Kumar Dissanayake today officiated the handover of 1,000 newly constructed houses to low-income families across the country. The national ceremony held this morning at Temple Trees was conducted to coincide with the World Habitat Day. The homes are intended for financially disadvantaged families who lack the means to build their own permanent shelter, marking a significant step in the government's housing initiative.
Sri Lanka marked World Habitat Day today with a national ceremony at Temple Trees attended by President Kumar Dissanayake, Minister of Urban Development, Construction and Housing Andhra Karnatilaka, and the First Secretary of the High Commission of India Navya Singla, among other dignitaries. The international theme for this year's World Habitat Day is Urban Crisis Response, while Sri Lanka celebrated the day under the national theme A Place to Belong, A Beautiful Life.
Relative to previous years, we have allocated funds for over 3,854 low-income housing units this year, with work to be completed by December. Furthermore, we're working to complete over 2,000 resettlement houses in the north and east, allocating 1.5 million rupees per house. In the plantation sector, we are starting work on over 4,500 housing units to meet the essential needs of those innocent people. We have also granted loan facilities for close to 4,500 homes under a 1 million rupee loan scheme to satisfy the needs of the lower income segments. In addition, a large number of houses are being built with the assistance from the governments of India and China, supplemented by funds from our national treasury. Accordingly, we have begun work on approximately 10,000 to 15,000 housing units this year alone. The current government is systematically solving this housing issue, which is one of the most pressing fundamental human rights issues. It is the government's paramount duty to provide a home for every citizen in our country. Let us all unite to overcome this challenge.
අපි හැමෝම එක් වෙලා මේ අභියෝගය ජයග්‍රහණය කරමු.
The declaration issued by United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres for World Habitat Day was formally announced by UN Habitat Sri Lanka Program Manager Harshini Halangoda.
Nations Secretary General Mr. Antonio Guterres.
The ceremonial handover of the 1,000 completed houses built under a program led by the National Housing Development Authority for nearly 4,000 impoverished families was performed by the President online. A symbolic grant for the proposed Ambatale water supply project was presented to the President at the event. This project is to be implemented with the assistance of the Indian government and the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, or the CDRI, facilitated by the UN Habitat Sri Lanka office. In a significant move to resolve long-standing issues, 357 beneficiaries symbolically received their title deeds out of 1,000 deeds that had been delayed for various reasons. Additionally, 157 families symbolically received checks for 1 million rupees each as part of a program to provide financial grants to 1,000 poor families who lack the economic capacity to construct a house. President Kumar Dissanayake also presented certificates to the winners of several competitions held to mark World Habitat Day. In celebration of World Habitat Day, 1,000 houses built by the National Housing Development Authority under the project titled A Place to Belong, A Beautiful Life were handed over to beneficiaries today. The project aims to construct 3,854 houses nationwide for low-income families, with the government providing a grant of 1 million rupees per house in phased installments. Each house is valued at approximately 2 million rupees. Several houses constructed in the northern and eastern provinces under the project titled A Place to Belong, A Beautiful Life were handed over today. These remarks were made by Member of Parliament Lal Premanath during the inauguration of 67 houses in the Mathura district.
In
the past, Ranil Wickremesinghe's government started something called Urumaya. A single event cost 15 million rupees. If a beneficiary who receives a home earned 2,000 rupees a day, they would have to work for 23 years just to earn the amount that Ranil Wickremesinghe spent on that single event. Later, there was an Urumaya LRC land distribution event held in Bogambara. The two people responsible for that event are now under arrest. They spent another 15 million rupees just on that ceremony. How many 1 million rupee houses could you build with that? You could build 15 houses like that. But 15 million rupees was spent just on the function. Afterwards, under the same Urumaya program last year, 164 businessmen were invited to the United National Party headquarters. Both of the responsible individuals are now under arrest. They collected around 3 to 4 million rupees from each person, defrauding a total of 100 million rupees. They brought the 164 businessmen to the party headquarters, took them to a hotel and promised to give them the Urumaya deeds. They haven't issued the deeds and have defrauded 100 million rupees. Now, 2 UNP members are in jail for it. How many houses could be built with 100 million rupees? 100 houses like these could be built. 100 plus the 15 houses lost to ceremony costs. That's 115 homes. In our own district, we are only opening 67. This is how the public funds for housing development are being wasted. There is also something else. Look at our current opposition leader. who was the housing minister in the past. Look into the games he played when he was the Minister of Culture. He gave houses to some people, and those people are still paying off the loans. He builds the houses, holds the ceremonies, puts up the billboards with his name, and grandly opens the houses with a huge show. In the end, the beneficiary pays the loan until they die. This is what happened to the country, and it must be stopped. There was another person, Vimal Veerawamsa, who talks with a loud voice like a drum. Remember, when he was the housing minister, he used housing development funds to build and give out luxury houses to his own relatives. I can't even say the value of those houses. Unfortunately, some of our former housing officials were also involved in these activities. We must stop these things.
Padmasiri Liyanage has been removed from his post of Director General of the Land Reform Commission, or the LRC. The dismissal follows the revelation of several irregularities and misconducts within the Land Reform Commission during hearings before the Parliamentary Committee on Public Enterprise, also known as COPE. Deputy Minister of Lands and Irrigation Sunil Ranasinghe confirmed this and added that Dineka Jayasuriya has been appointed as the Acting Director General of the LRC.
The Land Reform Commission was summoned before the COPE Committee. When they were summoned before the COPE Committee on the 8th of May, it was revealed that the appointment of the current Director General was not legally valid. The COPE chairman then notified the Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture to take appropriate action under the Secretary's powers regarding this matter. Accordingly, last month on the 7th, the Secretary appointed a committee to inquire into the matter and provide recommendations on whether the Director General's appointment was lawful or not. The committee appointed by the Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture submitted its recommendations. They recommended that the Land Reform Commission should conduct further detailed investigations into this matter. For this investigation to be impartial, the continued service of the current Director General within the LRC would be an obstruction to the investigation's objectivity. Therefore, he has been relieved of his duties in that post and has been assigned to the Land Division of the Ministry of Agriculture. A directress of the Land Division has been appointed as the Acting Director General of the Land Reform Commission.
ඉඩම් ප්‍රශංසකන කොමිසන් සභාවේ අධ්‍යක්ෂ ජනරාල් ධූරයේ වැඩ බැලීම සඳහා ඉඩම් අංශයේ අධ්‍යක්ෂක නිලධාරිනියක්ව පත් කළ තියෙනවා මේ පරීක්ෂණ කටයුතු අවසන් වෙන තෙක්.
We cannot level direct accusations at him. We don't know the exact details. However, the LRC itself has filed complaints with the Criminal Investigation Department regarding land transactions that took place within the LRC. Furthermore, members of Parliament from the Gampar district have lodged complaints with the CID regarding land in that district. These transactions occurred during the period that this Director General was in office. Therefore, we do not know if he is directly connected to them or not. The Criminal Investigation Department and the Bribery Commission are the authorities that must conduct those investigations.
Newsfirst with the people.
Head of Operations of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Johnston Fernando, says that the SLPP has become the main challenge to the current government. Speaking at a public meeting in Ratnapura that was also attended by SLPP National Organizer Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa, Johnston Fernando added that the current government is implementing the law of the jungle across the country.
Our party and Namal Rajapaksa have become the main challenge to this government. People are already saying Namal Rajapaksa will become the next president. That's what they're talking about as well. But you can't stop it by attacking it. You can't stop it by filing false cases. There's no point in slinging mud and spreading lies about him. When they can't keep up with the accusations about drugs, they drag up cases like Tajuddin's murder case from 9 or 10 years ago to keep the narrative going. All this is done out of fear. They even fear our flag. But that fear is good. We want that fear because it shows that they know we are protecting the party and preparing to take power next. So what do? They try to suppress us, to intimidate us. What's operating here is not democracy, but the law of the jungle. They are using not only false accusations and mudslinging against opponents, but also fabricating evidence and filing false cases.
Head of operations of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Johnston Fernando, made these comments against a backdrop where a series of significant new facts are emerging regarding the 2012 murder of rugby player Wasim Tajuddin. These details are being revealed through ongoing investigations into several suspects currently held under detention orders following their arrest in Indonesia. The suspects include Kehel Badra Padme, Bako Saman, Pamili Laidu, Commando Salintha and Panadura Nilanga. Initial probes confirmed the involvement of Bako Saman and his group in the ice drug trade. A large stash of white crystals and powder, later identified as ice mixed with other drugs, was found buried in Middenia. This cash, hidden in 2 containers, was recovered from land belonging to brothers Pial and Sampath Manamperi, who were both connected to regional politics of the Podujana Peramuna. The Manamperi brothers are currently in custody and investigations are proceeding based on the information they are revealing. A notorious organized crime figure, Aruna Vidana Gamage, alias Migas Are Khadja, who had worked closely with this group before distancing himself and making public statements about various crimes, was murdered on the 18th of February this year. Sampath Manamperi has now revealed that he supplied the firearm used in the murder of Migas Are Khadja. Police announced 2 days ago that a new clue in the Wasim Tajuddin murder has been uncovered based on a statement made to the Criminal Investigation Department by Migas Are Khadja's wife. She identified Migas Are Khadja in CCTV footage as being among the group that pursued Tajuddin on the night of the murder. Wasim Tajuddin was murdered on the 17th of May 2012. Numerous incidents of evidence tampering and cover-up have been reported over the years. A report submitted to the court by the CID on the 20th of September 2018 revealed that a Defender vehicle bearing registration number WPKA 0642 belonging to the Sirilia Savia Foundation was used in the abduction of Wasim Tajuddin. Meanwhile, Deputy Minister of Public Security Sunil Watagala emphasized today that the current government will not protect any criminals and that the perpetrators of the Tajuddin murder will soon be revealed.
As the government, we do not shield any criminals. The law will take its course. Some people are in a state of panic when the Tajuddin investigation progresses. The connection between such panic and the Tajuddin investigation will be revealed through a proper inquiry. Some families are more anxious than the others, and you may guess whether they are Rajapaksas or anybody else from this anxiousness they are in. However, we would like to say that the truth will be revealed based on the investigation. Those who have been taken into custody are already confessing. The investigation process will continue based on those confessions. There's no need to fear, as the complete truth will be revealed through these investigations. All relevant facts will be revealed in due course.
Meanwhile, Samgi Janabalavege MP Harshana Rajakarna said that former Rajapaksa government must take responsibility for past incidents, including the murder of Tajuddin.
This was very clearly a murder that took place during the Rajapaksa era. Therefore, that government must bear the responsibility. It's very clear that this incident occurred during the period of the Rajapaksas, including Nama Rajapaksa. Therefore, I call for an independent investigation into the Tajuddin murder. We don't care who is responsible or which party they belong to. An independent investigation must be conducted to bring the perpetrators to justice. This isn't just about the Tajuddin murder. There was also the Easter Sunday attack. Beyond that, we saw journalists like Prageet Eknaliguda and Lasantha Vikramatunga murdered during the previous Rajapaksa era. The truth about all these events that took place during that time must be revealed to the country, and those responsible must be brought before the law.
The Authority for Transfers, Promotions and Other Matters Concerning Police Officers, currently held by the National Police Commission, is set to be delegated back to the Inspector General of Police next week. A Gazette notification formalizing this is scheduled to be issued in the coming week. The move follows a decision taken by the National Police Commission during a meeting held last Wednesday. The National Police Commission currently holds authority over key personnel matters in the police department. In more local news, 7 suspects have been arrested with over 5 kilograms and 500 grams of hashish during a special operation conducted in the southern province today. The arrests were made in Habaradua and Badegama during a raid carried out by the Mathura Crimes Division.
Police reported that one of the suspects arrested in the operation is a close associate of Midigama Ruwan, a known organized criminal. In addition to the hashish, police said that 11 grams of the drug ice were also found in the suspect's possession. Meanwhile, the government analyst has confirmed that the substance seized from the Moldovan national in the Valigama area is the dangerous illicit drug known as methadone. The National Dangerous Drugs Control Board had also confirmed yesterday that the seized substances were methadone.
The Department of Meteorology reports that thunderstorms are likely across many parts of the island tonight. Several provinces are forecast to experience heavy rainfall of up to 75 millimeters.
The Department of Meteorology has issued an amber advisory for severe lightning in the northern, north central, eastern, over and northwestern provinces and in Mandalay district. Thunderstorms and strong winds are also expected in these areas. The Met Department advises the general public to stay vigilant and take necessary precautions. Meanwhile, wind speeds in some coastal areas may reach 30 to 40 kilometers per hour.
Winds are expected from the southwest with average speeds of 30 to 40 kilometers an hour. However, the fishing community is advised that sea conditions may become very rough temporarily, especially during thunderstorms due to the strong gusts.
Meanwhile, the National Building Research Organization has urged residents to remain vigilant following landslide warnings issued in several districts due to ongoing heavy rainfall.
Level 1 warnings have been issued for the following areas: Haliyala, Ella, Badulla and Passara divisional secretariats in the Badulla district, Naramvala in the Kurunegala district, Ukuvela and Rattota in the Mandalay district, Badalkumbura and Bibila in the Munaragala district and Kotmale in the Nuwara district. Rainfall will occur in other mountainous areas of the island and residents in those regions are advised to remain cautious.
A group of youths who were trapped in camps at the Narangala mountain range in Badulla last night due to heavy rains have been safely rescued. Newsfirst correspondent reported that Sri Lanka Army, together with local residents, worked together in the rescue operation. Meanwhile, heavy rains caused flooding along the Vevalhina road in Kanupalala today, disrupting vehicular movement. The road was completely blocked when a branch from a bo tree fell near the Muthiangana temple in Badulla. Strong winds in several areas have also led to various accidents, and lightning strikes have been reported across multiple locations.
9 people died and 8 others were injured in multiple road accidents across the island during the past 24 hours.
3 people were killed in road accidents along the Naramala-Kurunegala road this morning. The accident occurred when a lorry driver lost control of the vehicle and collided with an SLTV bus travelling in the opposite direction. Among the deceased are the lorry driver and a female passenger in the lorry. The victims, aged 41, 80 and 82, were residents of Polonnaruwa. An injured female passenger and 2 girls aged 16 and 9 are receiving treatment at the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital. A couple were killed in a road accident in Kananwila along the Horana Maharagama road. Police said the accident occurred when a motorcycle lost control at high speed, overturned and collided with a lorry. The victims, aged 21 and 24, were residents of Kiriwatturuwa. Four people died and 5 others were hospitalized following multiple road accidents reported from the 8th kilometer post along the Hatton-Balangoda Road, Tirukkovil, Ambilipitiya Katuwada and Uhana areas. Meanwhile, a cab plunged into a precipice near the Dikoya Base Hospital along the Hatton-Muskelia main road. Newsfirst correspondent said the vehicle had skidded off the road due to heavy rain.
The Shadow Cabinet Civic Organization has called on the government to pay attention to the economic potential of Sri Lanka's exclusive maritime zone. They emphasize that just as the country benefits from its land, an effective strategy must be implemented to fully harness the returns from the vast maritime zone, which is 8 times larger than the landmass of Sri Lanka.
According to the Charter of the Sea, a 517,000 square kilometer area falls under Sri Lanka's exclusive maritime zone. In a statement, the Shadow Cabinet Civic Organization has called on the government to establish a dedicated blue economy zone within this maritime area. The organization urged the government to act swiftly to acquire the necessary expertise and technology to develop a strategy for Sri Lanka's maritime zone.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka will hold an auction of treasury bills on Wednesday.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka will hold an auction of treasury bills worth 33,500 million rupees next Wednesday. The Central Bank said that bids for the auction can be submitted until 11 a.m. on Wednesday. Payments for the treasury bills are scheduled for 10th of October.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposits. Valuable FD 10.25% for 15 months, 11% for 24 months. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability.
The 2025 NASA Space Apps Challenge kicked off in Colombo yesterday.
The NSPM Green University in Colombo is hosting the 2-day 2025 NASA Space Apps Challenge, which began yesterday and concludes today. The event is part of the 2025 NASA International Space Apps Challenge, a global hackathon. Participants from around the world joined hundreds of in-person and virtual local events to tackle challenges submitted by NASA subject matter experts. This hackathon brought together students, developers, designers and innovators to collaborate on solving real-world problems using NASA's open data and that of its International Space Agency partners. Teams addressed 18 challenges curated by NASA experts, covering topics such as solar weather, meteors, agriculture, the International Space Station and exoplanets.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said he hopes to announce the release of hostages being held in Gaza in the coming days.
In a televised statement, Netanyahu also said, quote, Hamas will be disarmed and Gaza will be demilitarized, either the easy way or the hard way, but it will be achieved, end quote. The comments came after Hamas released a statement on Friday in which it agreed to free the hostages under a US peace plan, but did not mention disarmament and sought negotiations on other issues. Hamas said on Saturday that Israel was continuing to commit massacres after strikes hit Gaza in the morning, and it urged global pressure on Israel. Indirect ceasefire talks between the parties are set to start in Egypt on Monday. US President Donald Trump said he would not tolerate delay from Hamas to complete a deal. The 20-point plan proposes an immediate end to fighting and the release of 20 living Israeli hostages held by Hamas, as well as the remains of those thought to be dead, in exchange for hundreds of detained Gazans. The Israel Defense Forces said it had issued an order to advance readiness for the implementation of the first phase of the Trump plan for the release of hostages. It added that the safety of IDF troops was a top priority.
President Donald Trump has authorized the deployment of 300 National Guard troops to Chicago to address what he says is out-of-control crime.
President Donald Trump authorized a historic federalized deployment of 300 National Guard members yesterday to Chicago over the objections of Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker, with the White House saying it was needed to protect federal officers and assets conducting immigration enforcement amid ongoing violent riots and lawlessness. The move came hours after immigration authorities said they faced off with protesters in the Democratic-run city and shot an armed woman when she and others rammed their cars into law enforcement vehicles. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed that U.S. Border Patrol personnel shot the armed woman in Chicago yesterday as scores of protesters faced off against federal immigration agents on the city's southwest side. The woman's injuries were unclear. DHS said she drove herself to a local hospital. State and local leaders have for weeks criticized Trump's deployment plans and called it an abuse of power. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said Trump was attempting to manufacture a crisis. The announcement came as a federal judge in Portland, Oregon, another liberal city, temporarily blocked the Trump administration from deploying 200 troops there. Judge Karen Immergut called Trump's statements about conditions in Portland untethered to the facts and said the move violated the Constitution. She said the use of military to quell unrest without the state of Oregon consenting risks the sovereignty of that state and others, adding that it has also inflamed tensions in the city and accused increased protests. Immergut ruled that the administration's arguments for the deployment risk blurring the line between civil and military federal power to the detriment of this nation. While it's unclear whether troops have arrived in Chicago, any such deployment would likely be met with legal challenges. The city is the latest to be targeted for a controversial deployment of troops, joining Washington, Los Angeles, Memphis and Portland. Chicago has seen an increase in protests over immigration enforcement in the city, many of them happening outside U.S. immigration and customs enforcement facilities. Earlier this week, the president talked about his ongoing military deployments to U.S. cities while addressing high-ranking leaders across the military. He told military leaders he wants American cities used as training grounds for U.S. troops so they can combat the enemy from within and quell the unrest.
In today's edition of beautiful Sri Lanka, we take you to Nuwara in Ampara, a must-visit for history and nature lovers.
Hidden deep within the vast Nuwara forest in Mayangana Ampara district lies a mountain steeped in history and unmatched beauty. Nuwara. For the adventurous traveler, the reward is worth the journey. A vigorous 7-kilometer trek through the wilderness is required to reach its ancient heart. From any vantage point, the majestic peak of Nuwara rising above the green canopy presents a panorama so stunning it defies description. This isn't just a mountain, it's a living piece of history. Its origins trace back to the era of King Saddhatissa, with relics of his reign scattered across the slopes. Imagine yourself spending a unique night in a royal rock cave or taking a refreshing dip in a centuries-old pool built by ancient kings. Only Nuwara offers this magical experience. If your travels take you near Ampara or Mayangana, make sure the historic, unforgettable Nuwara is at the top of your list.
Beautiful Sri Lanka.
With ability and determination, no obstacle is too great to overcome. We leave you tonight with the story of a remarkable individual from our own country who has conquered the world through cinema. Thank you very much for tuning in to Primetime News on TV1. Good night and God bless.
Happy headlines. Buddhika Jairatna, one of Sri Lanka's most talented actors, stars in his latest film, Sunny's Mansion. This Australian production features a supernatural storyline, with Jairatna playing the lead role of Dar, a character with supernatural powers. This marks the first time a Sri Lankan actor has taken a lead role in an English language film. Filming began in May 2023 and was completed entirely in Australia, alongside an international cast including Sarah Alexander, James Bolton, Ethan Cook, Laura Deem and Jared Kennedy. The film is directed by Herman Pereira, a Sri Lankan residing in Australia. You can catch Sonny's Mansion in cinemas worldwide from the 19th of October.